Okay, so initial thoughts on the episode?
My concern is the same concern I had with the Star Wars movies. We're 2 episodes in. There's only 4 left. They have barely progressed the story. And they're going to run out of time. Just like with the Star Wars movies.
And rush it.
Force Awakens trotted along too much. They only had 2 movies left to finish the story.
Is this confirmed? It's only... Mm-hmm. This is the only time we're going to see this incarnation of Bucky and Falcon together?
I don't know.
That has not been confirmed.
Yeah, that hasn't been confirmed if this is it or if there's going to be a season 2 or perhaps they split up and you get a Falcon.
Well, we know Armor Wars is coming, but maybe it's not literally Armor Wars. Maybe this power broker who they stole the powers from had something to do with it, and it kind of leads it towards that.
Maybe. I don't know.
But to me, I felt like, 2 episodes in, we really haven't moved the main narrative very far.
The main narrative is Falcon taking over his Cap. They established him as being like the B-roll character to A-roll character, and so they're moving him forward is what they're doing, and they're doing that like sort of by force instead of choice is what they're showing you.
And they showed you that Walker's a dick.
Yeah, they did show you that at the end, but that was never any question. Like, you had to feel like they're not going to leave Cap as some unintroduced character. Like they would have to introduce you to a character and then let you fill his role, then rather than just stick him in there if he was going to last. Like I didn't know he was going to be super soldier-esque. I thought he was going to die, and that's how they were going to do it. And he very well could still die, but
But does he have the sauce?
It looks like he has a sauce the way he's throwing the shield around, like Cap, like bouncing it off people and stuff. I mean, without him being like, everybody seems to be a super soldier. What is that? Star whatever. What is the other? Battlestar.
Yeah, I've got a question for you about that.
I don't know Battlestar.
Okay. Because Bucky seemed to have a very visceral response to that name where he was just like, fuck it, I'm getting out of here.
Well, that's because
because it's horrible.
Well, it's horrible, and I think that he comes from the era where people didn't actually have tags and call names and
I got you.
Even though Falcon has kind of earned his for the public, he's not Falcon to everybody else. He's not Falcon to the team. He's not Falcon.
He's Sam.
Yeah, he's Sam. It's like Captain America's not really Captain.
So he's pissed off because the dude's got a lame ass fucking code name because everybody's trying to pretend to be who they are.
Yeah,
in a sense.
Well, it's weird because it's like, because they're on the same power level as the other super soldiers, so they're like 2 super soldiers essentially.
So you think Battlestar is sauced?
Yeah, I mean, if they're not, then how do they contend in that fight?
Right.
Battlestar didn't do much. I mean, he caught the one person by surprise.
He didn't get his ass kicked.
Okay.
Well, he kind of did. They grabbed him and punched him and threw him off the side of the...
Not compared to like a normal person.
Well, I mean, yeah, a normal person would probably have been killed by the punch.
Yeah.
Does saucing everybody take away some of the uniqueness of Captain America? Yeah. I mean, I understand that.
Well, Bucky's sauce, so I mean, like, you should.
Well, he's got reason to be sauced. I understand he's the counter Cap. That's why he's sauced. Yeah. There wasn't supposed to be a lot of sauced people, but now fucking everybody random.
Well, everybody in that episode was sauced for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you got fucking humanitarian aid people that are now sauced. It wasn't the most deadly assassin of the 20th century in Bucky, and Captain America, who through his abilities and sheer will and the sauce saved the planet. Now you have fucking people passing out vaccines that are sauced out of their mind. Is it?
Well, do we think that it's a super soldier serum, or do we think it's something short-lived like we saw in like Iron Man 3? Where it's like
and it burns out.
Something that could potentially burn out, or something that they're dosing themselves with. Because if it's something like that, then it's like, okay, it's just a dose. So it's, even though they're powerful for a bit, maybe they're putting themselves like at
kind of like Bane juice, like the Venom, where you just pop it a little bit, soups you up. I don't think so, because it seems like these cats have been running around a while doing their thing.
Yeah, we haven't seen them.
And if they're on the run, or have been doing this for 2 years and on the run, it's kind of hard to source your sauce, because whoever's making the fucking sauce ain't making it on the underground.
But they haven't done it that long, right? Because this is
post-blip.
Yeah, this is post-blip. They didn't really start until the blip, right? Because they want to put everything back to the way it was before the blip. So they had no reason to start until after the blip.
Have they told us where we're at in the blip or post-blip? Are we like 6 months?
Yeah, we're like 6 months.
Okay.
Because the Wanda Scarlet was like a month.
Yeah.
And this is like 6 months out. Because I think he says it in the first episode, right? He's been back 6 months.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Probably something like that. But it just seems like life is too normal for all the background stuff. It's like people are just still, going about their business. I think people would be really shocked for, a third of the planet goes, or half the planet goes missing for 5 years. I think people wouldn't just immediately like pick up and go back to normal.
Yeah, it'd be a little Mad Max, a little chaos.
Yeah, it'd be super chaos, and I don't know why they didn't portray that some, because like you see those scenes in New York where it's like everybody's on the street like just living life. It's like, really? Even 6 months back, I don't think that. I mean, like, we're living through, the ends of a pandemic now, and I guess you couldn't, like, portray what that would look like. But is life going back to normal immediately just after, like, a year of disruption and not, like, half the planet, disappearing?
Yeah, well, that's wigging as much as COVID. You'd think an alien coming from another timeline, almost disintegrating all matter in the universe, would have a little bit longer lasting effect than fucking COVID-19.
I guess it's hard to imagine if you've never experienced anything like this. So they're doing, I suppose, as best they can.
Yeah, and they're kind of just making it like, well, the whole half of everyone that got snapped is back. But I mean, at the end of not Endgame, but Infinity War, when Fury and them are out in the street and the helicopter comes crashing into the building, like that sucker just reappeared in the air and then splat on the ground. Like, what happened to those people?
I'm sure.
Never thought about that.
If you snap back to where you were, like, I mean, there was a lot of people in an airplane going somewhere, and they just snapped back over the ocean.
Yeah, that's fucked up. Never thought about that.
Well, they probably don't want to talk about or bring that back into the narrative just because it's the casualties of chaos. It's I don't know. It's weird. I mean, it's a good, like, I guess, sub story or subplot to what's going on in the story going forward. I wonder how they'll tie in, like these little like side narratives almost to something like Far From Home or whatever next like real cinematic movie that's placed on Earth. Because this gives them like some groundwork. Because Wanda gave no groundwork for how society was, or how post Endgame we're supposed to be affected. But the last Spider-Man movie didn't really either. And when is this supposed to be? Is it?
That's like a year later.
That's a year later.
Yeah, I took a picture of this screen grab.
Oh, they got somebody put a timeline out of everything when everything's supposed to have happened.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because that feels like things would probably be closer back to normal, but it's still weird.
So like Cap hands the shield to Falcon off in October of 2023. Wanda happens in November, and then the following year, 2024, is when we have Falcon Winter Soldier.
Okay.
And then Spider-Man happened in June 2024. So.
Okay,
like
so this is pre.
Yeah, this is pre Far From Home.
Oh, okay. So they could even use this to potentially set the stage or something like that because he has like a crew that works with him.
Mysterio, yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
So this takes place before. What was the second Spider-Man movie? Far From Home. Okay.
Yeah, before it's in between WandaVision and Far From Home.
Huh.
Strange. It's obvious that the humanitarian people that are sauced, they stole the serum.
The flag
I doubt the guy that sent him the text, "I'm going to kill you." They stole the vaccines from that guy because you just make more vaccines. They obviously stole something with a little bit more value, which I imagine would be the serum. But they seem too normal to have access to what would, be hidden behind the most.
Well, she worked for the Palmer.
Right, which could have. And see, I thought it was Zemo that was texting her until we see him at the end.
Yeah. Yeah, they've got him locked up somewhere.
Yeah, and that's why I guess I kind of feel like they're behind the eight ball because now they're going to spend a whole episode. Like, when does he get out and become part of the story? Is it?
This could lead directly into Thunderbolts. They
announced that?
No, well, basically,
yeah.
you got Zemo, and if he sticks around after this, he's going to make Thunderbolts.
So I don't even have any idea what that is. So you can walk me through that.
Thunderbolts is a hero team that appeared after the Avengers and Fantastic Four disappeared, and they were led by this guy, Citizen Kane, I think was his name, or Citizen V. Yeah, Citizen V. It turned out it was Baron Zemo, and it was a bunch of bad guys in disguise, and they were using the chaos to set themselves up to benefit. And eventually the team turns against Zemo because they kind of liked being heroes. And Zemo was trying to use them. I forget what his master plan was, but to use them for that. So they turn against him, and then they kind of remain good guys. But then after the secret invasion happens and Norman Osborn kills the Skrull and ends the war, he's promoted to director of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then he recreates the Thunderbolts, but he uses villains.
Yeah, he uses all Spider-Man villains.
Yeah, and puts bombs in their heads so he can control them.
Yeah, but aren't they actually bad though?
Yeah, they're actually bad, but he wants to control them because they're so bad they don't want to listen to him because he's got venom. Wants to do his own thing.
Yeah,
he's got Dakin, Wolverine's
yeah,
son.
I think I read a little bit of that on the. All right, either you read it or either you pointed it out to me or we talked about it at some point. I think I looked it up and remember seeing that. So I've seen that. I just didn't know about the other part, the Thunderbolt. No idea. That's weird. I mean, everything else seems pretty predictable. Like, you're not gonna like the guy playing Cap. They're gonna turn him into a little bit of a douche, and
he is in the comics. He's a douche in the comics.
Oh,
okay, so he's a comic book character.
Yeah, if I remember him right, he's actually from Vietnam War in the comics. He's from Vietnam, and so he's like all fucked up from that.
What about the other super soldier guy? What was his name?
Isaiah.
Isaiah
Bradley. Isaiah Bradley, I believe was his last name. He is. It sounds like he's in the Korean War, and I guess that's right. I don't remember though, because I feel like he was a World War II Cap as well. Like right after Cap disappeared, they had a little bit of serum left, and they shot him up with it. So he's not near as strong as Cap was or anything like that, but it was enough to give him some powers. And then he aged. His grandson,
so he's got to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't have a full dose based on like how we've seen Bucky and
Bucky
Cap.
kept getting frozen, right? And then Cap was frozen and it was only active for 10 years, 12 years.
Yeah.
So he goes back in time and it was an old grandpa.
Yeah,
but
see him again. Okay. So you're saying that the super serum?
I don't think it does what it does in the comics as far as age goes.
Oh, okay. Well, even the way they put it in the MCU though, because he ages so much, like the Isaiah guy, black guy, he ages so much that like you can tell like if he's supposed to be.
When did the Korean War happen?
In the early 50s.
Yeah.
Oh, it happened in 50s.
Yeah, when he was talking, because in the show he said 51.
Oh, that's right. He did say 51. So maybe it does.
So he's a comic book character.
Yes.
So the only character you don't recognize is Battlestar.
Yeah, I don't recognize Battlestar. Not saying he's not one. I just
Right.
don't recognize him. And then the grandson for Isaiah, that's why I got fired up when they said Isaiah. That is, I can't remember his name, but he's Patriot. And he is the Captain America for the Young Avengers.
Okay.
So we got him. We got Kate Bishop going, the Hawkeye. We got Cassie Lang, Ant-Man's daughter, who becomes...
Yeah, he's a comic book character.
Battlestar?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I recognize his costume. Yeah, I just didn't recognize his name. I haven't read much with him in it at all.
It looks like he got an old school cap shield too, and
yeah.
So.
I don't recognize the girl, the humanitarian girl. I don't recognize her name.
There must be something with her name because
they showed it. They lingered on it.
Yeah, they lingered on it for a full second. So it's got to be something. It's probably a story arc that contains her. Yeah, I mean, you can sort of see where we're going because Bucky's already laid that message out. Like, why don't we just take the shield and do it ourselves? And so something's going to happen. There's going to be some way to bring them to the forefront, and then we're going to be like a dun dun dun, like to the MCU, back out of this mode and back to the real movies.
So does Baron Zemo actually not end up being the villain? Because what if they go to Baron?
Like the main villain of this series?
Yeah, or even a villain at all. Because what if they come to find out? Because we know we got Dick Cap now, Kurt's son. He's now Dick Cap. So what if Baron Zemo is like, yeah, Dick Cap's he's a Hydra dude, and then that is like, well, we got to get the fucking shield from the Hydra guy,
I don't see him being a Hydra guy, but I could totally see him going off the rails because he's a little crazy in the comic books. Goes off the rails.
Okay.
I could definitely see him going off the rails and he being like Zemo's first recruit for Thunderbolts, and then you've got a Hydra Cap, quote unquote.
Oh yeah, because they've already set the stage for that too. Because they're not tracking the bad guys; they're tracking the good guys, and so the good guys are going to go see Zemo, and they're going to go follow him, and that'll lead to them having a conversation where he's recruited by somebody that's a master manipulator, and so that sets the stage for that pretty easy.
Yeah, Walker gets defeated. Maybe Falcon and them do take the shield off of him because he goes a little nutty. They defeat him, take the shield off, and Zemo's there to pick him up, pick the pieces up, and recruit him.
Yeah,
recruit some of these power broker people. Start the Thunderbolts.
Well, I mean, yeah, and even the way that he like organizes himself, like the way he walks around is like he's immediately a rock star. He's signing autographs, and like he's not Cap at all. He's not nice to people, and then you just have a good interaction with him. He's like a rock star, and like he's telling people what they're going to do, and he's got the person that has the authority, and so like you can already tell that this person's going to be like they set the stage for him to be a complete mess of a character. So he's going to be seeking the next level of power, and so Zemo's going to be the person that can plug him in to the next level of whatever it would be available as far as power broker would go.
Which we don't have a Cap on the Thunderbolts, but I mean this doesn't have to be the same Thunderbolts.
Yeah, you can rewrite it, change the story arc, whatever. Or, I mean, they could just, grab that other guy. I don't know the name. I just looked his ass up.
Oh, Battlestar?
Galactus. Yeah, so I think that that's going to be something that's going to tie in, like, for sure.
It's a nice change of pace from, like, WandaVision where we have action every episode.
Yeah, and the action's been good.
Yeah.
I like Falcon Winter Soldier's dynamic. It's a very lethal weapon.
Yeah.
Martin Riggs and Murtaugh. They don't really get along, but they look out for each other.
Well, I thought WandaVision was, it was a nice change of pace for what you expected to come out of something Marvel-esque. Like you expect nothing but, and they did a lot of character build, a lot of story build to build Bettany up.
And
Vision.
They're kind of getting to do the same. Cause, I mean, I know we're grappling about 6 episodes, but there was only 9 episodes of WandaVision, and they were only 30 minutes. I mean, we're getting
these are about 45
long episodes.
I thought they're 45, aren't they?
Yeah.
So
they feel like they're an hour
45, now 6.
No, they really do feel like fairly long.
Yeah.
The pacing is good, but there's a lot of like staring. So it slows the episodes back down. That's a weird thing they're doing with Bucky, where it's just stare instead of like give dialogue. But I suppose it works. But
Yeah, they tried to do the jump out of the plane like Cap, but he's not as good as Cap.
But he didn't have the shield.
Yeah, he didn't have the shield
to land on.
Yeah, but to be fair, Cap jumps from way higher to land on the shield. It was like 200-300 foot up, is what they were saying. So
Cap also jumped out and landed in water one time too.
Yeah,
he didn't have to dodge trees.
Yeah. Yeah, it was just like to be silly. Is all that is.
Yeah, and I hope they don't continue with the silliness. I like the silliness where it belongs, like in the scene with the counselor. That's fine, but like when you're on the tail of
behind enemy lines.
Yeah, and you've got 5 super soldiers, and you're sitting there arguing back and forth, and Bucky is like, we can just take them all cavalier and stupid. It's just like let him still be a predator in a sense. I mean, he's not the Winter Soldier anymore, but let him still have his abilities. I want him to still be a scary adversary for whoever ties up with Bucky, but they're kind of doing the 80s hero trope a little bit, where they got to get their ass whipped a lot, or they're goofy and lackadaisical. I want to see that switch come on in him, like in his dream sequence, so he's just not a murderer. But I want to see him, and then Falcon just sneaks up behind him. He didn't even know. He's like, "What the fuck? Where'd you come from?" It's like, dude, you're the Winter Soldier. You almost ripped Iron Man's heart out, and dude just walks up to you with a 200-pound jetpack, and you don't hear it. And that's I just wish that too much Marvelization of the humor across. Marvel's humor, it sells. I get it. I like it where it parts, but I just want to see the characters I don't know, maybe just because I like the Winter Soldier, I still want to see him be scary, be an adversary. No one should want to tie up with him, but to be just kind of cavalier. Oh, we can take them. It doesn't matter how many there are. They're all super soldiers. We can take them. I mean, it just seemed kind of something a 100-year-old war veteran would not make that mistake, I guess.
Maybe they will play toward that, and because they've given that psychological aspect of his character at this point. So maybe there is a possibility that they'll have a something to snap and balance, sort of like we've got the smart Hulk,
right?
Where, he balanced himself and he can still be Banner and be strong. Maybe we'll see something where, Bucky stops being slightly goofy and becomes more edgy like he is, in, Winter Soldier and whatever, Civil War, where we see him actually taking initiative.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think they're going to keep Zemo from just running those lines off on him?
I think Zemo's going to try, but I think the psychiatry has helped him, like his Wakanda meditations, or you could even retcon and say, well, I was in Wakanda and they hooked me up with some juice that blocked it, or some shit. Wakanda science explains anything. He's the white wolf. He meditated on his farm, drinking goat's milk, and has a psychiatrist. Maybe that he was deprogrammed.
No. The psychiatrist worked with Walker. So what if she's a little fucking crazy too?
Ooh, what if she's
burying
Zemo?
Yeah, she's
already there. It's already laid the groundwork because the people are tied together, and they just tricked you into feeling secure around her because she has that little moment with her and Bucky and Falcon. So now you're like, oh, she's a good person, but but then you tie it all back together, and it's like, oh, that's the point. It's probably what it is. That's the point where we see it all start to fall apart, and it ends with Zemo being out and having freedom, and he's a big bad somewhere along the route.
Yeah,
maybe.